Is Pique Tea better than regular tea? Unlike regular tea, which comes either loose or in a tea bag, Pique Tea is different because it is actually in a powdered crystalline form. And one of the ideas behind Pique Tea is that it's much more user-friendly. Just open up a packet, throw it in hot water or cold water, and drink it on the go as you like. The company behind Pique Tea also states that it is the most concentrated form of pure tea on the market. In fact, Pique claims that their tea crystals have up to 12 times the nutrients found in other tea brands, and that it was also third-party tested, although I'm unclear of the name of the independent company that did that testing. By the way, if you like this review, share it with your friends. I am unbiased. I've been investigating dietary supplement claims and evidence for over 30 years. I don't work for any supplement company or pharmaceutical company, and I'm not selling Pique Tea either. So the name of the company is simply Pique, formerly Pique Tea, and the website is piquelife.com. When I looked into Pique, I didn't find any Better Business Bureau file for the company, which I thought was a little odd considering the company has been around since at least 2020. And that just might be a reflection that the company's been doing all the right things and people are happy with the product. Now, the $64,000 question is how much caffeine is in Pique Tea? And to answer that question, the company provides this list of the 17 brands of tea they have and how much caffeine is in each. As you can see, some brands are pretty low in caffeine, such as this one, which clocks in at 13 milligrams per serving, while others like Sun Goddess green tea and black tea are higher. So if you're interested in this product and you're sensitive to caffeine, you should do your due diligence to find a brand that's right for you. So what about heavy metals in Pique Tea? Now, I didn't see a similar table for heavy metals like lead and arsenic as I did for caffeine, but the company does state that they screen all their teas for mold, pesticides, and also heavy metals. Now, when I checked Consumer Lab to see if they had anything to say about this, turns out they did test one of the brands, Sun Goddess Matcha tea, and they found it had 85 parts per billion of lead, which corresponds to about 0.17 micrograms per serving. And to put things in perspective, this amount is way below even the California Proposition 65 level for lead, which is set at 0.5 micrograms per day. Translation: you could drink about 3 cups of this green tea and still be below the California Proposition 65 lead limit. Consumer Lab also stated that the brand they tested had, quote, extremely small amounts of arsenic, which they rated at 0.1 micrograms per serving, which, if you do the math, is about 100 times lower than the arsenic limit set by Proposition 65. Translation: independent testing appears to show that Pique Tea has extremely low levels of heavy metals like arsenic and lead. Now, switching gears, on one of the pages of the Pique Tea website, it's called the Science page, they discuss their patented cold extraction technology that they use to preserve the active phytonutrients in their tea, and they also discuss what they call their full spectrum isolate synthesis, which isolates the most bioactive compounds in the tea, which, as they say, delivers payloads of essential nutrients to your cells. Now that sounds impressive, but I would push back on that statement a little bit because isolating what we think are the most bioactive compounds in tea might accidentally leave out other compounds that are also healthy. Isolating and concentrating the compounds in green tea relies on the assumption that more is better, and you can't always make that assumption. To illustrate this fact, let's take a look at this paper where people drank green tea that had different amounts of green tea catechin phytonutrients. The amounts of green tea catechins that were used in the study range from a low level of 0.75% all the way up to 1.75%. As stated in the paper, yes, some green tea phytonutrients like EGCG increased in the blood as people consumed more concentrated amounts of tea. However, that wasn't a universal finding. As you can see from this chart that they provide in this study, the level of EGC actually reached a saturation point such that the higher dose didn't lead to greater absorption compared to the lower or the mid-range dose. Translation: when it comes to green tea phytonutrients, more concentrated doesn't necessarily mean always better absorbed. One thing I want to call attention to is that nowhere on the Pique website did I see any research comparing whether Pique Tea was better than other forms of tea that you may have in your home right now. Okay, so let's talk about where Pique Tea gets its tea from. On this page of the Pique website, they state that about 75% of their tea comes from China. Other countries involved in supplying their tea include Japan, India, Africa, South America, and Sri Lanka. Okay, so let's talk about how to get a refund. And here's where things get a little confusing. On the refund page of the website, they do say that Pique Tea comes with a 90-day happiness guarantee, and they will even give you a return shipping label to send it back to them. Be aware that the happiness guarantee return policy does come with a few stipulations, including the package has to be unopened. If the package is opened, it has to have about 50% of the tea remaining in the package, and generally the return policy doesn't include third-party resellers like Amazon and other websites. Although, in all fairness, they do state that if you purchase Pique Tea from Amazon and you're having trouble getting a refund, to reach out to them and they'll try to help you. Also, circling back to that return shipping label, on the terms of service page of the Pique website, they do state that returned unopened products are subject to a restocking fee that is equal to the shipping costs. If I understand this correctly, they will send you a return shipping label. However, the amount to send Pique back to them would be deducted from your refund. Again, it's a bit complicated, so leave a comment below and let me know if I'm correct on this. Now, if you decide to purchase Pique Tea, let's talk about how much it might cost. Here's a table I created that shows the monthly costs of several blends of their tea and their approximate yearly cost. And I'll just leave that there for your consideration. At the end of the day, this really comes down to your taste preferences and your price point. Personally, I think Pique Tea is expensive, and in the absence of any human clinical trials showing that it has superior benefits, I'm likely going to stick with the brand that's at my local supermarket. But I'd love to learn what you have to say about this, so do leave a comment below, and again, don't forget to share this with your friends.